Speaking English with Ada.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Speak English with Anna podcast. I'm your host, Anna, and I am so thrilled to have you here with us today. If you're looking to level up your English while also leveling up your life, you are definitely in the right place.
That's right, Anna, and hello to all our listeners out there. I'm Mike, and I have to say I've been really looking forward to today's topic. It's something that sounds simple, but is actually the secret sauce behind almost every successful person we admire.
It really is, Mike. Today, we're diving deep into the power of consistency. You know, we live in a world that is obsessed with overnight success. We see someone become famous or wealthy, and we think it happened in a day. But if you look closer, it's never about one big leap.
Exactly. It's like learning a language, right? You don't wake up one morning suddenly fluent in English just because you studied for 10 hours straight yesterday. It's the 15 minutes you spend every single morning, day after day, that actually changes the way you speak.
I love that analogy. Consistency is like a drop of water hitting a rock. One drop does nothing, but if it keeps falling for years, it can literally reshape the stone. Success is exactly the same. It's built on small, boring, daily habits that most people give up on after just 1 week.
And that's the challenge, isn't it? Staying motivated when you don't see results immediately. People often ask me, Mike, how do I stay consistent? And I always tell them, don't focus on the mountain, just focus on the next step.
That is such a powerful mindset, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today. We've prepared a roadmap for you, 8 essential sections that will show you how to build a life that you're proud of, one small habit at a time.
We're going to talk about everything from how you plan your night to how you talk to yourself in the mirror. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear strategy to stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it.
But before we get into the details, I want to ask you a quick favor. If you're listening to this and you feel that spark, that tiny voice inside you saying, I want to be better, then don't let that feeling fade away.
That's right. If you find value in what we're sharing today, consider joining our community by hitting that subscribe button. It's a small click for you, but it tells us that you're committed to this journey with us.
Think of it as your first habit of the day, choosing to surround yourself with content that pushes you forward. We'd love to have you as a permanent part of the Speak English with Anna family, so we can grow together, step by step, episode by episode. Now, Mike, are you ready to get started with Section 2?
I'm more than ready. Let's do this.
Now, let's move into our very first core habit, which is keeping promises to yourself. Mike, when I first heard this concept, it hit me really hard. We spend so much energy trying to be reliable for everyone else, our bosses, our parents, our friends, but we are often the first people we let down.
You are spot on, Anna. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and go for a run? Or, this weekend, I'm definitely going to practice my English for an hour. Then the alarm goes off or the weekend arrives and you just hit snooze. You make an excuse.
Oh, I've been there many times. It feels harmless in the moment, right? We think, it's just me, no one else is watching, so it doesn't matter. But is it really harmless?
Not at all. In fact, it's dangerous for your self-esteem. Every time you make a promise to yourself and break it, a small part of your brain loses trust in you. It's like having a best friend who constantly lies to you. Eventually, you stop believing anything they say. When you say, I'm going to start this project, your brain whispers back, no, you won't. You never do.
Wow, that's a heavy realization. So by breaking those small promises, we are actually training ourselves to have low self-confidence. We become strangers to our own willpower.
Exactly. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a reputation you build with yourself. Every time you follow through on a small commitment, even something as simple as drinking a glass of water before your coffee, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. You're telling yourself, I can trust me. I am a person who gets things done.
I love that casting a vote idea. It means we don't have to be perfect. We just need a majority of votes. So, Mike, what's your advice for someone who is struggling with this? How do we start rebuilding that trust if we've broken it for years?
My biggest advice is to start ridiculously small. Don't promise yourself that you'll study English for 3 hours a day if you haven't studied at all this month. That's a trap. Instead, promise yourself that you will learn just one new word today. Just one.
Because that's a promise that is almost impossible to break, right?
Precisely. The goal isn't the one word. The goal is the act of keeping the promise. Once you've kept that promise for 7 days straight, your brain starts to think, hey, I'm actually doing this. That's when you gain the momentum to aim higher.
That makes so much sense. It's about building the integrity muscle. It's much better to do 5 minutes of something you promised than to plan for an hour and do 0.
Absolutely. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is looking. And remember, the most important person looking at your life is you. If you can't trust your own word, whose word can you trust?
That is such a powerful takeaway, Mike. To all our listeners, think of one tiny promise you can make to yourself today. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be kept.
Well said, Anna. When you start winning these small battles with yourself, you'll be amazed at how quickly your confidence grows in other areas of your life, like speaking English in public or taking on new challenges at work.
I couldn't agree more. Now, once you've learned to trust yourself, you need a plan to execute. That leads us perfectly into our next topic. Mike, are you ready to talk about how we can win the day before it even begins?
Let's do it. Let's talk about planning.
That was a great point about self-trust, Mike. Now let's move to our third section, planning the night before. I have to admit, I used to be the kind of person who just winged it. I would wake up, look at my phone, and wait for the day to tell me what to do.
And how did that work out for you, Anna? Let me guess, it felt like you were constantly playing defense, right?
Exactly. I felt like a firefighter, just running around putting out fires. I was busy, but I wasn't actually getting anything important done. By the time I figured out what I should be doing, it was already lunchtime and my energy was gone.
That is the morning trap. Most people don't realize that a successful day doesn't start in the morning. It actually starts the night before. Think of it like this. If you're a pilot, you don't get into the cockpit and ask, so, where should we fly today? You have a flight plan long before the engines even start.
That's a perfect metaphor, but why the night before? Why not just plan it first thing in the morning over a cup of coffee?
Because of something called decision fatigue. Every decision you make, from what shirt to wear to which email to answer first, uses up a little bit of your brain's energy. If you spend your precious morning energy just deciding what to do, you'll have less energy to actually do it.
That makes so much sense. I've noticed that if I choose my outfit and pack my bag at 10 p.m., my 8 a.m. self is so much calmer. It's like my past self is doing a favor for my future self.
Precisely. When you plan at night, you're using your rational brain. When you wake up, you're often in your emotional brain. You're tired, you're cozy, and you want to stay in bed. If the plan is already there, you don't have to think. You just execute.
So what does a night plan look like? Does it have to be a 10-page schedule and a fancy journal?
Not at all. In fact, simpler is better. I use the rule of 3. Every night, I write down only 3 things that must happen tomorrow for the day to be a success. Just 3. One of them is usually related to my long-term goals, like practicing a language or working on a project, and the other 2 are urgent tasks.
Only 3? That sounds so manageable. I think sometimes we overwhelm ourselves with a to-do list of 20 items, and then we feel like failures when we only finish 5.
Exactly. A long list is just a recipe for stress. But if you have 3 clear wins, your brain sleeps with a sense of direction. There's actually some science behind this, Anna. When you write down your tasks before bed, your subconscious mind starts working on them while you sleep. Have you ever woken up with the answer to a problem you were struggling with?
Yes, it feels like magic, but I guess it's just my brain working overtime for free.
It really is. Planning at night clears the mental clutter. It's like closing all the open tabs on your computer before you shut it down. You sleep better because you aren't worried about forgetting something.
I love that, closing the tabs of your mind. To our listeners, if you find yourself feeling anxious when your head hits the pillow, try this. Spend 5 minutes, just 5, writing down your top 3 priorities for tomorrow.
And be specific. Don't just write practice English, right? Read 2 pages of an English book or listen to one 10-minute podcast. The more specific the plan, the easier it is for your morning brain to say yes to it.
Such a practical tip, Mike. It's all about removing the friction between you and your goals. Now, once we have our plan and we wake up ready to go, there's one more thing we need before we face the noisy world.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's my favorite part of the day, but it's something most people are afraid of.
Are you ready to talk about the power of silence?
Let's dive into it.
Now, Mike, we've reached a topic that I think is the ultimate challenge for our generation: the magic of silence. We have our plan from the night before, we've woken up, but then the temptation hits. The smartphone is right there on the nightstand.
It's like a magnet, isn't it? Most people don't even realize they've done it. They haven't even rubbed the sleep out of their eyes before they are scrolling through social media, checking the news, or reading work emails.
I'm guilty of that. It feels like I'm getting a head start on the day, but honestly, it usually just makes me feel anxious or annoyed before I've even had my breakfast.
Exactly. When you check your phone the moment you wake up, you are letting the world dictate your mood. You are reacting to other people's lives, other people's problems, and other people's agendas. You are basically inviting a crowd of shouting strangers into your bedroom at 7 a.m.
That's a terrifying way to put it. So instead of that digital storm, you suggest we find silence. But Mike, what exactly should we do in that silence? Is it just sitting still?
It can be. Silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's the presence of clarity. I recommend spending at least 10 minutes in total quiet. No music, no podcasts, and definitely no screens. You can meditate. You can pray, or you can simply sit with your cup of coffee and watch the birds outside.
I've tried this a few times, and I noticed something strange. At first, the silence feels loud. My brain starts screaming about all the things I need to do or things I'm worried about.
That's perfectly normal, Anna. That's your mental static. Most people avoid silence because they don't want to hear those thoughts. But if you sit through it, the static eventually clears. It's like a jar of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, it stays cloudy. But if you set it down and let it sit still, the mud sinks to the bottom and the water becomes crystal clear.
I love that image. So silence is how we let the mud of our daily stress settle.
Precisely. This is where your best ideas come from. When your mind isn't being fed a constant stream of information from a screen, it finally has a space to create its own thoughts. You'll find yourself remembering things you forgot, or suddenly solving a problem that was bothering you yesterday.
And it sets a tone for the rest of the day, doesn't it? If I start in peace, I feel more in control when the chaos of work eventually starts.
That's the internal anchor. If you have 10 minutes of solid peace in the morning, you carry a piece of that calm with you all day. When your boss is stressed or traffic is bad, you don't react as quickly because you've already grounded yourself.
I think our English learners can really use this too. Imagine spending those 10 minutes just breathing and perhaps thinking of 3 things you are grateful for in English. It's a peaceful way to prime your brain for the language.
That's a fantastic idea. Silence is the foundation of a strong morning routine. It's not about how many things you can do before 9 a.m. It's about the quality of your state of mind.
So the challenge for our listeners today is, can you go the first 30 minutes of your day without touching your phone? Can you give yourself those 10 minutes of silence?
It's harder than it sounds, but it's more rewarding than almost anything else. Once you control your morning, you start to believe you can control your life.
Beautifully said, Mike. Now that we've cleared our minds and found our center, it's time to fill that space with something valuable.
You're talking about growth, aren't you?
I am. Let's talk about why we should never stop being students. We are moving right along. We've planned our day, we've found our inner peace in the morning, and now it's time for habit number 5, lifelong learning. Mike, I often hear people say, I'm done with school. I don't need to study anymore. That mindset always worries me.
It should worry you, Anna. In the modern world, the moment you stop learning is the moment you start becoming obsolete. I like to think of the human brain like a smartphone. If you never update the operating system, the apps eventually stop working and the phone becomes slow and useless.
That is so true. So, lifelong learning is basically just a software update for our minds?
Exactly. We need to update our mindset constantly. You see, many people think learning is a chore, something you have to do to pass a test. But successful people see learning as a privilege. It's the only way to stay ahead of the curve.
I agree. And for our listeners, learning English is a perfect example of this. It's not just about grammar, it's about opening doors to new information, new cultures, and new ways of thinking. But Mike, people often complain they don't have time to go back to school.
That's the beauty of the age we live in. You don't need a classroom to be a student. You have a university in your pocket. Every time you listen to a podcast like this, watch an educational video, or read an article, you are in school. The key is to be intentional.
What do you mean by intentional?
Most people consume content passively. They scroll through junk food content, gossip, memes, or mindless videos. Intentional learning is about choosing nutritional content. It's spending 15 to 20 minutes a day on something that actually challenges you or teaches you a new skill.
I love that distinction, junk food versus nutritional content. I noticed that when I started reading nonfiction books for just 10 pages a day, my vocabulary and my confidence in meetings improved drastically. It wasn't a huge effort, but the cumulative effect was massive.
That's the compound effect of knowledge. If you learn one new thing every day, after a year, you are 365 ideas smarter than you were last year. Imagine who you will be in 5 years. You will be a completely different person.
It also changes how you handle problems, doesn't it? When you are constantly learning, a problem that used to feel like a mountain suddenly looks like a small hill because your knowledge toolbox is bigger.
Spot on. You don't grow by avoiding problems. You grow by becoming bigger than your problems. And let's be honest, curiosity is the fountain of youth. People who stay curious and keep learning stay energetic and excited about life.
So, to our audience, our challenge for you in this section is to ask yourself, what is my software update for today? Is it a new English phrase? Is it a tip on leadership? Or maybe a new cooking technique?
Whatever it is, make it a daily habit. Feed your mind before you feed your distractions. If you do that, you'll never feel stuck in life again.
Such a motivating thought. But you know, Mike, even the smartest mind can't function if the hardware is failing.
You're talking about the body, right?
Precisely. Let's move from the mind to the muscles. We've talked about the mind and the soul, but now we have to talk about the vessel that carries it all, our body. Habit number 6 is movement and physical energy. Mike, why is it that we often treat our bodies like they are separate from our brains?
It's a huge mistake, Anna. We tend to think that if we want to be smart or productive, we just need to sit still and think. But the truth is, your brain is a physical organ. It requires oxygen, blood flow, and the right chemicals to function. And how do you get those things? You move.
I've definitely felt the difference. If I sit at my desk for 4 hours straight, my brain starts to feel like it's full of fog. I can't find the right English words, and I start making simple mistakes.
That's because your energy has become stagnant. I always say, motion creates emotion. If you want to change how you feel, if you want to go from feeling tired and discouraged to feeling energized and optimistic, you have to change how you move.
So, does this mean we all need to go out and run a marathon or spend 2 hours at the gym every day? Because I know a lot of our listeners are very busy people.
Not at all. In fact, the most life-changing habit isn't the intense workout you do once a month. It's the small movement you do every single day. Just 15 to 20 minutes of elevated heart rate is enough to flush out cortisol, the stress hormone, and release endorphins.
That sounds very doable. It could be a brisk walk around the neighborhood, a quick dance in your living room, or even just some deep stretching while you listen to your favorite English podcast.
Exactly. Even a power walk is a miracle drug. There's a biological reason for this. When you move, your body produces a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists call it miracle grow for the brain because it actually helps your brain cells grow and connect.
Wait, so moving my legs actually helps my brain grow? That is incredible.
It really does. If you want to remember your English vocabulary better, go for a walk while you study. You'll find that the information sticks much better when your body is active. It's about building an engine that can handle the pressure of your dreams.
I love that. The engine of your destiny. But Mike, what about the people who say, I'm too tired to exercise?
That is the great paradox, isn't it? We think we are too tired to move, but the reality is that we are tired because we don't move. Movement doesn't take your energy, it generates energy. It's like a car battery that charges while the car is driving. If the car just sits in the garage, the battery dies.
That is such a convicting point. We are sitting our way into exhaustion. So the challenge for Section 6 is simple. Move your body today. Don't worry about being perfect or looking like an athlete. Just get your blood flowing.
And do it for your mind as much as your body. When you finish a 15-minute walk, you'll notice that the problem you were worried about suddenly seems smaller. You've literally walked it off.
It's so true. I always feel like a different person after a bit of movement. Now, Mike, we have the energy, we have the plan, and we have the mindset, but there's one thing that can still ruin everything if we aren't careful.
Are we talking about the noise again?
Yes, but this time it's the noise of doing too much. Let's talk about the power of focus. We are getting close to the end of our roadmap, and this seventh habit is a tough one for me to hear. We're talking about focus and the danger of multitasking. Mike, I used to be so proud of being a multitasker. I thought that answering emails while cooking and listening to the news meant I was being super productive.
I hate to break it to you, Anna, but you weren't actually multitasking. You were just task switching very quickly. And every time you switch your attention from one thing to another, your brain pays a switching cost. It takes several minutes for your mind to fully refocus on the original task.
So that's why I feel so exhausted at the end of the day, even if I haven't finished my big projects. My brain is just tired from jumping back and forth like a ping pong ball.
Exactly. We live in a world that is designed to steal our attention. Notifications, pings, dings, and those little red bubbles on our apps, they're all designed to break our focus. But here's the truth. Focus is the new IQ. In a world where everyone is distracted, the person who can sit down and focus on one thing for an hour is practically a superhero.
Focus is the new IQ. That is a powerful statement. I've noticed that when I try to study English while also scrolling through social media, I remember absolutely nothing. But if I put my phone in another room, 20 minutes of study feels like 2 hours of progress.
That's because you're entering deep work. Deep work is where the magic happens. It's where you actually learn, solve complex problems, and create something of value. You can't reach that state if you're checking your phone every 5 minutes. Each interruption is like a dream you're closing.
I love that. Every notification you open is a dream you close. It sounds poetic, but it's actually very practical. So, Mike, how do we protect our focus when the whole world is trying to distract us?
You have to build a fortress around your focus. First, turn off all non-human notifications. You don't need to know the second someone likes your photo. Second, use the single tasking rule. If you are eating, just eat. If you are talking to a friend, just talk. If you are studying English, just study.
It sounds so simple, but it's actually quite difficult because we are addicted to the hit of dopamine we get from new information.
It is an addiction, Anna. We are a generation that is busy, but not effective. A hamster runs all day on a wheel, is very busy, but it stays in the same cage. If you want to move forward, you have to stop running in circles and start moving in one direction with full intensity.
That really challenges me to look at my daily schedule. I think I'll start by picking one power hour every day where I turn off the Wi-Fi and just do my most important task.
That 1 hour will be more productive than 8 hours of distracted work. Remember, the sun's rays don't burn anything until they're focused through a magnifying glass. Your energy is the same. Focus it, and you will become unstoppable.
Such a sharp analogy, Mike. Focus is how we get the work done. But as we reach our final section, we need to talk about the spirit in which we do all of this.
Ah, the secret to staying happy while you're working hard.
Exactly. Let's talk about the heart of it all, gratitude. We have arrived at our finance section, and honestly, Mike, this might be my favorite one. We've talked about discipline, planning, movement, and focus, all the doing, but now we're talking about being. Habit number 8 is gratitude.
It's the most important one, Anna. You can have all the money, the fitness, and the productivity in the world, but if you aren't grateful, you'll never be happy. Success without gratitude is just a very busy form of failure.
That's a powerful way to put it. I've met people who have everything on paper, but they are constantly complaining about what they don't have. It's like they are looking at a beautiful garden, but only seeing the one weed in the corner.
Exactly. Gratitude is a lens. It changes how you see the world. We often think, I'll be grateful when I get that promotion, or I'll be happy when I can speak English fluently. But gratitude isn't a destination, it's a muscle. If you don't practice it when you have a little, you won't know how to use it when you have a lot.
So true. And for our listeners, practicing gratitude can actually make learning easier. Instead of saying, English is so hard, I'm so frustrated, you can say, I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to learn a language that connects me to the world.
I love that shift in perspective. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. It stops the constant comparison with other people's highlight reels on social media. Every morning in that 10 minutes of silence we talked about, try to name 3 specific things you are thankful for. Not just my family, but maybe the way the sun feels on my face this morning.
It makes life feel so much richer, and it's the perfect way to wrap up our journey today. Mike, we've covered so much, from keeping promises to yourself, planning at night, seeking silence, moving your body, focusing on one thing, and finally, being grateful.
It's a complete roadmap, Anna. But remember, listeners, you don't have to be perfect at all 8 habits starting tomorrow. That would be overwhelming. Just pick one. Maybe it's just the silence, or maybe it's just the planning. Start small, stay consistent, and let the compound effect do the rest.
Beautifully said. Consistency is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your wisdom with us today. This has been such an inspiring conversation.
Thank you, Anna. It's always a pleasure. And to everyone listening, you have the power to change your life. It's not in the big leaps. It's in the small things you do every single day.
We believe in you. Thank you for being part of the Speak English with Anna community. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with a friend who needs a little boost today. Keep practicing, keep growing, and keep being grateful.
See you in the next episode, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.